don't know. Does this get the treatment? I don't think it's really breaking news.
It's not really
worthy,
breaking news,
but I just wanted to use this sound effect.
I like the we up to 8 now. 7, 8. We're adding to our soundboard as we speak.
It's kind of breaking news just because it happened last night on social media.
Okay.
It was a hot topic, so I'll give it the breaking news soundboard treatment because we are gathered here together on a beautiful Wednesday morning after our PCO live stream last night, which was awesome and a great response.
Yes, it did.
But got to get you here in the old recording seat because there was a lot of chatter last night on social media with a lot of the boys going back and forth talking about an interesting topic from both sides, the wrestler side and my side, the promoter side, as it relates to picture taking. When is it appropriate and should it be done when it relates to the stars and taking it? Is it right to do it backstage? Is it right to do it with the wrestlers intermingling? First of all, did you see these back and forth in the original tweet that was surfacing from a account called the Angry Wrestling Vet?
He's very angry. Let's just start off. He's very angry of man. I saw this morning as I was scrolling through Twitter some of the responses, which led me to click onto that guy's account. And again, I don't know who this man is. I'm assuming he's a man. I don't know who he is. It's funny that his picture is a body with the head cut off. So I guess he's trying to stay incognito. But I'm sure some people know who he is because he kind of, if you look at his page, he kind of drops a little bit of hints about himself. Like he's an actor, he's a stunt person, he's this, he's that. But I saw, I believe it was Sean Waltman's response. I saw Jerry Lynn's response. I think HC Loke and Mike Bucci Nova put up responses. And I disagree with this guy. They say there's a time and a place for everything. I feel like if you pick the right spot to do something, it's 100% acceptable. It's just like a wrestling fan wanting an autograph, but you shouldn't go up to one of the boys if they're like in the middle of eating a meal. You remember we talked about that before? Like it's okay to ask for an autograph in a public setting unless they are busy. If you see them engaged in a really intense conversation, you might want to wait. If they have food, entering their mouth, you might want to wait. That kind of thing. But I love when the younger generation says to me, can we take a pic together? Is it okay to say? I don't mind that at all. I'm flattered that they want a picture with me. And, with everyone in our lives that has passed away, you think back to the days where, we didn't have these camera phones available. And I didn't walk around with a disposable camera because that's what we had back then. You couldn't even see what the picture was. You had to wait to get them developed, and half of them were shitty because they didn't focus correctly or, whatever. So I don't have many pictures unless somebody else took them and gave them to me, or, we didn't have social media, so you couldn't post pictures back then. So I don't have this really long catalog of pics with my friends or people that I've met. And that's kind of sad because a lot of my friends aren't here anymore. And I would love to have those pictures to look through and remember them by. So I think this guy is way off the mark. I don't see anything disrespectful about it. Calling people marks because of it. Well, aren't we all marks because we love the business and that's why we got in the first place? I don't see anything wrong with asking somebody for a picture. I do it sometimes now. Sometimes I'm too lazy to take my phone out, to be honest with you. And I'm just like, eh. But if I meet a guy that's like, I don't think I'm ever going to see him again and he's a top star, I'll go and say, hey, can we get a quick pic? And I'll always make a joke. Are you going to charge me $40 for this picture? Now, no, it's free for you. Okay, thanks. but he just sounds like, I don't know. To me, it sounds like he's coming off like, I know more about the business than everybody else, and this is the proper etiquette and blah blah. No, it's not. You're wrong. You're 100% wrong.
You've always said that, though. Everybody, if you're in the business, you're a mark.
You are.
You've always said that.
You are. I mean, I didn't grow up loving the sport of wrestling. I fell into it later in life, but I became a fan. And then when I got into it, I became obsessed. And all I thought about was wrestling. How do I get better? What can I do in my matches? Can't wait to get back on the road. I loved it to the point where it became my life. And to me, yeah, that's a mark. That's a mark for the business, but that's a good thing. And, I've used Mark in promos when I'm in the ring, and it's kind of like a negative thing, but that's just me being a heel, and everybody else can attest to that. If you're a heel in the business, you call a fan a mark because it's supposed to be an insult. But in reality, being a mark is not a bad thing. You're just a fan. As I am a fan, as you are a fan, as the people listening to this, you're all fans. We're all marks for the business. Nothing wrong with that. There's 100% nothing wrong with that. It's a good thing.
Let me read the tweet for those that don't have the full context. So the angry wrestling vet, or I think it was actually, this looks like it was a Facebook post to me. The angry wrestling vet writes, "Stop being a mark," in all caps.
Why?
A follow-up thought about taking photos with vets. I've been in the stunt and movie business for over 15 years now. Have worked with and alongside of people like Leonardo DiCaprio, name drop, Denzel Washington, Russell Crowe, spelled wrong, Jennifer Aniston, Nicole Kidman, and dozens of other stars. Do you think the director of my stunt coordinator would be okay with me being a fanboy on set to get a photo with a celebrity? The same is true with pro wrestling, spelled with no space. But it's because pro wrestling is a bastardized version of film and stunts. It somehow makes you think it's okay to be loose with things that are common decorum for being on set. Stop being a mark. #fanboys.
Maybe the movie and stunt world is a different place than the wrestling world. I've been in the wrestling business for 30 years. Sir, whoever this person is. And I see nothing wrong with being a fan and taking a picture. And I'm happy to do so. I know my colleagues are always happy to do so. We do it if we're in public. We do it in the locker room. Doesn't matter. It's flattering. I'm happy when people want a picture with me. This guy's too mad. He's mad at the world.
I take two things away from that. One, he got in trouble for it very early in his career,
Maybe.
and that's one thing that he kept with him the whole entire time.
Maybe.
And two, when I worked at WWE in production up in the studio in Stamford, I never in a million years would have ever thought you could go up to Mean Gene and say, "Hey, Mean Gene, can I grab a picture with you?" Because you would have literally been thrown out of the building like Jazzy Jeff in the Fresh Prince.
Because that is a corporate environment. That's not the right place to do something like that. I think he's saying like maybe in a locker room or
Right.
At a convention.
But he's using Hollywood as an example. So I'm using WWE as an example of, hey, listen, that's as close to a movie set as you're going to get in pro wrestling is the WWE television studio. And when I was up there and I saw Mean Gene walking by, or I saw Taz, or I saw, Josh Matthews or Howard Finkel, I didn't go up to them and be like, "Can I get a picture with
because
Howard
it's a
Finkel?"
corporate set.
No, because we were working.
Do you think this guy is bitter because no one has ever asked to take a photo with him? He's a vet.
So the story starts to develop a little bit more. So Sean Waltman, X-Pac, possibly, maybe one of the nicest guys in the history of the business that I've come across on the convention side. We're working with talent and bringing them in to do shows. Personable, great with fans, just accommodating, the whole 9 yards. Writes, "Dear up-and-coming pro wrestlers on the indie scene, I don't know who this guy is, but I couldn't disagree with this more. If we're ever on a show together or in any other setting, I'd love to take a pic with you. Signed, Happy Wrestling Vet.
And I love that. And I absolutely love that response. And I would say the same for me. And I know a lot of my friends in the business would say the same for themselves. This guy, he just sounds bitter over something. I can't put my finger on it, but there's so much negativity in his post. He sounds like he doesn't even enjoy being in the business. The way he's coming off as a heel, but a heel in real life. Now, is this a shtick? Is this some kind of shtick for online or something?
You know, I would think possibly because, you know, again, I'm starting to scroll through the comments, right? First one I see is Blue Meanie, right? Blue Meanie says, there are plenty of boys who aren't with us anymore. I wish I had taken a picture with. We make memories for others. We should have some together.
That's what I just said.
Right. Great comment. Exactly what you just said. Bully Ray it looks like I'm a mark. Post pictures with Ric Flair, Haku, Ron Simmons, and the Rock and Roll Express.
There you go.
Okay? Great. And he says, you and me both. The Bollywood Boys post pictures with Harley Race, Eddie Guerrero, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Yeah.
Can't get those pictures anymore,
No.
right? Those aren't happening. But the Angry Wrestling Vet, it's in the title. He's supposed to be angry, right?
Yeah, but
it's got to come from some. It's shtick, but it's got to come from a source of somewhere. Now, there's another independent talent from the Northeast named Sean Donovan, who I've seen for many, many years in the Jersey indie scene. He's been around forever. He is like the helpful indie veteran. And if you go to his Twitter, he's posting helpful tips to the indie scene and giving it from the veteran perspective, right? And if I see stuff on his, I don't even follow the Angry Wrestling Vet because I've seen his stuff on Facebook over the years, and obviously I'm too hot for Facebook, so I don't have it anymore. But I don't follow him on Twitter. But Sean Donovan, I don't know if I'd follow him anymore. I might have at one point, but when I see his stuff, it's like, wow, that's a really good tip. If I was an up-and-coming wrestler, I'd be following him because this guy's telling me positive stuff that I should take to approach a veteran or to follow a veteran. And I always talk about how I asked at the PCO last night, do the young guys come up to you, talk to the vets, right?
Yep.
I'm obsessed with that because that's where my mind goes. This guy must have had something happen early in his career that bit him in the ass, and he's carrying it with him. And this is a prime example of it. And now the vets are turning on him.
But to me, it's like, is he doing it for attention to rile people up? And is he sitting behind his keyboard laughing his ass off?
I don't think so at all.
Or does he really believe that this is the way you should conduct yourself in the wrestling business? You know, because
I think that.
Well, I disagree then. I disagree with him. He just sounds like an old bitter guy who's never made it and who is just like giving crappy advice out that anyone with half a brain would not take into consideration. I think I would like to see some of the other. Can you look and see some of the other drops of knowledge that he'll post for these kids these days to follow, just to see if he's consistent.
Yeah, we could look at some of his.
I'm just wondering because this take is wrong, but maybe he has a take that I would agree with. You know what I mean? Like, could he be 100% off the mark on every post that he has?
Now, I'll give you a little more context about the Angry Wrestling Vet. You know, again, he's a stunt coordinator. He's been around for a long time. He helped launch the Sanctuary Wrestling School. I think now it's like stunt based as well. It's a converted church.
I've seen a video online. Yep. One
of the coolest looking places I've ever seen hold any kind of event, not just wrestling, anything.
It's scary to me. I don't like
it's
the church
cool.
thing.
I mean, so I'll give him all the credit in the world for that. But before I pull up his page and we did kind of dig through that, this was brought out on Twitter, and this is kind of funny because you want to talk about pots calling kettles something. This is him on the left. Okay.
The one in the white shirt.
The one in the white shirt. This is
him.
This is off of the Wild Samoan in the middle, and this is Nicolas Cage.
Now, what year is this?
This has to be around the time they were scouting Nicolas Cage to be the original subject of The Wrestler.
Because this guy looks very young in that picture.
Yeah, this has to be about 2003.
And the tweet from a Twister Mister says the angry wrestling vet is the one in the picture who is not famous. So he's getting hate. But he took a picture with Nicolas Cage. So what's that about? He's contradicting his own post. He's being a mark.
He just looks like every guy who was coming up in that age, that early 2000.
Yeah.
Every guy with the little growth on the chin, the sideburns.
Wrong with his look. I'm not,
I don't know, but he just looks like every guy coming up in that era. So, but there he is taking a picture with Afa.
In 2003, he didn't find anything wrong with taking pictures, but 20 years later, shouldn't take pictures. Right? Kind of contradicting yourself there, angry vet, aren't you? And I'm just curious, really, because we don't want an hour video here, but I'm just curious, is there any other knowledge that he has shared that actually is correct, so to speak?
Well, we're going to find out here in just a moment.
Yeah.
Because,
I'm just wondering,
I would love to find out. But again, I, as a promoter and bringing people into shows, hey, look, I'll point something out that I bet you don't even realize. We don't have a picture together. I never took a picture with you with anything we've ever done.
You haven't?
No. And it's not because I'm not by choice. I just never got around to it.
Yeah, see, and it's odd because every time I do these conventions, at the end of the weekend, the promoter always says, can we take a picture together?
I just am so wrapped up in the show that I never say, let me grab a picture. But I also, in the past, I've always felt more so of wanting to make sure the fans have gotten everything and get everything. But I've also gone to task with people I've worked with and say, I don't need to get the picture. But I've also lost out on a ton. Yeah. At the end, working with King Kong Bundy, didn't take any pictures with him. Kind of regret it now in retrospect. They didn't do it, and that's on me.
Yeah.
So
right.
What are you going to do? So
yeah, you're probably the only promoter that hasn't asked for one.
But it's not out of anything other than I was just not focused on it. I was busy doing other stuff. Nothing personal.
But on their but for them, they always wait till the whole thing is done. We're packed up, ready to leave. Hey, can we grab a picture in front of our banner? Absolutely. No problem.
All right. Let's see. I'm back in May of last year. He's talking about Will Ospreay. He's just commenting.
This guy, don't get me wrong, this guy's allowed his opinion, but it comes off as shtick to me. Like, hey guys, talk about me. You know what I mean? Like the name, it's kind of like gimmicky.
Okay, he called Jake Paul a fake cosplaying pro wrestler version of a boxer. Really going out on a limb with that one.
Come on now.
The vet challenge: sell more, bump less. A bump is a physical reaction to a move. A sell is the emotional reaction, and then he's got a whole diatribe about all that.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You're allowed your opinions. I'm not saying he can't have an opinion. All I'm saying is this comes off to me as he's playing a heel role on the internet.
Okay, now, if I was going to be taken seriously, I probably wouldn't be coming out here calling Tony Khan a hashtag money mark and calling him a fucking fanboy.
He doesn't. Well, apparently he doesn't care. Maybe he does not aspire to be in AEW in the near future, so he doesn't care. But again, he's coming off as a angry, heelish wrestler. Something that you would do on the mic when you're at an indie show and your opponent's the babyface and you're like, well, you are nothing but a mark, blah, blah, blah. This is coming off as he's in character to me. Just the way he presents his tweets. I'm looking at them now. I mean, if he is like this, he's just an angry, bitter man.
Yeah.
But if this is a shtick, he's riling people up. Maybe that's what is meant to be.
Looks like he's connected to the Samoans. That's why he's the picture with Afa, because he's tweeting a lot about Umaga.
Yeah, he had the Wild Samoan shirt. That's where he trained.
Yeah, so that must be where he came from in his training lineage.
Yeah.
Proud of Colby Carino. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I've
there's
had
more
enough.
of the
I've had
PA.
enough.
Okay.
I've had enough of this guy. MJF with his cat and his phone on his belly. Nice.
Dreaming of Colt Cabana.
Oh God, that's funny.
But again, it's one thing to put something like that out there, but it's another thing when the guys respond
Yeah,
and you get completely buried. And when I see it's one thing when Sean Waltman, a guy with that status, starts to comment and kind of throw you under the carpet. But then when I see guys like Jerry Lynn respond, who is just like the kindest, nicest guy, and it's like when he has to respond to it, there's like shit is going down around the business and people are commenting.
I think this guy is probably sitting home marking out at all of the top stars who are putting him over because of this tweet, and maybe that's what he wanted.
Maybe.
So maybe I'll get a hate comment from him under here that, I'm nothing but a mark who hasn't done anything for the business and blah, blah, blah. So whatever. He's just angry, and he comes off as just this bitter, I don't know, maybe upset that he's never done more in the business because he keeps putting over his Hollywood Hollywood stunt man stuff, but not so much wrestling. If nobody knows who he is, how over can he be?
Hey,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to bust on him. I'm just saying, try happiness. You'll feel better. Smile once in a while.
But the bottom line is everybody's a mark.
I'm a mark. You're a mark. Wouldn't you like to be a mark too? We're all marks, and I'm proud of it. So this guy can eat rocks.
The next sound effect that I'll add is MJF screaming into the microphone, "You fucking mark."
You dropped 2 F-bombs on this podcast, by the way. So let's get that taken care of. Okay.
So sorry. I'll throw one of those in there.
You're a mark for the F word. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll get out of here for today. We'll catch you next time. The Eyes Up Here experience on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. You like this video, you comment below. Let us know what you think. Are we all marks? Are we talking out of our butts, our mouths? Where are we on this issue? Do you agree? And what wrestlers have you gotten pictures with? Have you gotten a picture with the Queen of Extreme?
Post them. Can you post pictures in comments?
No, you can't post pictures in the comments.
Can't.
But share them on Twitter or Instagram. Share your pictures with the Queen of Extreme.
Yeah.
If you've met her. And if you haven't, come out to Middletown, New Jersey on May 20th.
That's right.
So we will catch you next time if there's some breaking news for the Queen of Extreme. This is the Chadster. We will catch you on the flip side.
YouTube, it's the Queen of Extreme Francine letting you know that starting April 1st, YouTube will be the home for the Eyes Up Here experience. Along with my co-host Chad, we will be bringing you the best interviews with the hottest stars from wrestling and the entertainment industry. Plus, channel members get access to exclusive video content that includes watch-alongs and much, much more. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get the notifications, and I hope to see you at our next live.